Another sunrise on another Sunday morning. Good morning. Tell you what, if you have ever experienced overstimulation, overanalyzing, overthinking, just being in a full mental spiral, anxiety, mental health, you're going to love this episode. In fact, this topic is still so fresh to me in my human experience that I'm literally still in the practice, still trying to fully understand this. And I think it's no coincidence that this question was submitted. And then, therefore, this is going to force me to respond to where I'm at so far in this topic. And the question came in as, when do I push? When do I pause? And my first response to this is, I think we know when to push. I think that, and I shouldn't say I feel that we know when to push because I think that's a feeling that makes us automatically respond, right? Are you feeling that in your body right now? It's when to pause that gets a little foggy, right? Because the real question in the pause is, am I pausing because my storyline needs me to pause, observe, take in notes, ground myself so that I'm not just acting, reacting? Am I pausing so that I can be proactive? Or am I pausing to procrastinate, to paralyze, to self-sabotage? I feel that's the real question. I mean, we live in a culture that majority of us are living in fight or flight, right? So I think pushing becomes automatic, but also pushing in a healthy way when we're supposed to push is also such an obvious response that we aren't even taking the time to hesitate and overthink that. We just go, right? We just respond. But in an unhealthy way, there is that, we're living in fight or flight. We're just going. We're doing the next thing. We're called over here. We're like in the pinball machine, right? And those are the times that maybe we shouldn't be in action, doing the next thing, because we're not realizing those loops or those actions are creating problems or stacking up to problems in the long run, whether internally or externally. Let me ask you this. Have you ever tried to jump without bending your knees? Like if you're just go, and you just jump without bending your knees. Sometimes we need that pause to bend down all the way to get a stronger jump, to get a stronger leap, right? The pause that grounds us to take stronger leaps. Now, let me ask you this. What are you leading right now? Like, what are you creating? Are you leading a team? Are you leading a family? Are you leading a business? Are you leading a vision? Maybe you're raising your hand right now and like, okay, D, all the above. I'm leading, I'm creating all of them. And I feel you, because I'm in that too. But whatever we are leading right now, whatever we are in real time creating right now, it does require due diligence. It requires us to be present enough to know when to take a leap or when to pause on something. We're always in decision-making mode, right? And what this reminds me of, I mentioned in the first episode, and that is about the curiosity killed the cat, and how I obnoxiously found out that actually isn't even the way that it went. It was some skit from the 1800s, and the original line in it, I say skit, but I think it was not a musical, but like a playwright kind of thing. The original line in it was that it was care that killed the cat, not curiosity. And back then, care meant the hesitation, the overthinking, the overanalyzing, that pause that didn't ground the cat, but rather, or us, we're going to call us the cool cats in this, but rather that low vibe version of the pause that I was just talking about, which was more about where we paralyze ourselves and we get stuck in this overthinking and this spiral and this overanalyzing, the self-sabotage that really paralyzes us from that leap that we should be taking, from that push that we should be doing. I talked about in that first episode how eventually authority, whether it was in parents, bosses, government, whatever, had changed that term to curiosity because it was at a time where they didn't want those that were not in authority asking too many questions. So in order to put fear into people of asking questions, having fear of even just having curiosity, they said curiosity killed the cat. And so therefore, ever since, we've got many generations now where we are afraid to ask questions, afraid to be curious, afraid to know what the answer could be, because that was the fear put in. But that's beside this. What I'm coming back to is that care that killed the cat, that pause, that self-sabotage, that paralyzing that killed the cat. That's not where we want to be, right? Because in that fight or flight moment, we do need to leap. We do need to push. We need to not pause too long. And being in this position that we are in, whether we're leading a family, a team, or creating a vision, or creating a business, we are in these decision modes that require us to make a decision right now on the spot or pause into it long enough to make a wise decision. Now, I have shared with you before about this introspection place that I've been in since losing my sister, which feels like I've lost 4 limbs. But in this introspection that I've been in, something amazing has happened. Honestly, many amazing things have happened. And maybe that's proof of the pause that my life needed to be going in this hustle culture and being a part of it and falling for it and being in the rat race of it. My life certainly needed the pause. And this isn't about that pause. It's about something wiser for all of us to understand. And that is the difference between our mind and our body. That's why I said, if you have experienced anything mental, overanalyzing, overthinking, overstimulated, mental spirals that we go through, the mental anxiety that we put ourselves through, anything mental health, depression, anything mental, then I think you're going to like this walk we're going to go on together. The amount of times in this recording already that I've caught myself saying I think is proof that I've been living in the mental part of my life and not in the body part of it. In fact, let's call this a fun fact. I used to work in the dental industry. I was a dental assistant. That's from the neck up, right? And then I went into being a makeup artist. That's from the neck up. And then I became a full cosmetologist. That's from the neck up. Everything was head related. And then you add the energy of my personality being an anxious person, getting overwhelmed with overstimulation, being a person who overanalyzes, being a person who gets told regularly, oh, you're overthinking that. And sure, the different loops and roller coasters of mental health, depression, the winter blues, or the simple gray day. It only takes one gray day. And I'm like, what's going on in my life? Do I need to change something? I'm in a funk. It's like, no, it's just a gray day, Jen. It's just a gray day. You don't need to change anything in your life. So where I'm going with this is I had this aha moment one day that just led to the whole fact. I'm like, wow, I have not been living in my body. I've been living in my head this whole time. And yeah, there's good things there. There's ideas, there's connections, there's pattern recognition, where you're discovering the common denominator in a problem, which allows you to be strategic and troubleshoot. But I'm like, when am I going to start living in my body? And you can see how easily that came from, losing my sister. It's like, and she's in this other realm now. She's in the spiritual realm. And I'm like, gosh, as I reflect to all the conversations that we were having, she was so good at living life and doing life, experiencing life. That's all in the body. And here I've been in my head this whole time. And I've been, yes, a very spiritual person and very much a thinker, but I haven't been experiencing life. So I leaned into that more. How much of our human experience are we living through our mind? And how much are we living it through our body? And then I leaned into it more. So much of our wisdom is in our body. Have you ever heard of the book, The Body Keeps Score? I mean, I think the title alone tells you that the body has wisdom. The body has memory. The mind is full of information. So it's just, it's like a computer. It's just connecting dots, making connections based on the knowledge that's in there. It's information, information, information. But the body has actual wisdom, lived memory. Our mind has memory, but it also has information that we don't even know if it's true. It's something we heard before. And then we're making decisions from our mind instead of our body. You with me? This is snowballing. This is going to be bigger and bigger and bigger. You've heard the term trust your gut, right? That's in the body. You feel it in your gut when something is not the right thing. You also feel it in the gut if it is the right thing. You've heard of, I'm going to stand 10 toes on this. 10 toes. That wisdom sits on the body. Are you feeling me? You've also heard someone say, I'm going to say this with my whole chest. That wisdom coming out of their mouth is coming from their body. When someone has a knee-jerk reaction to something, that's coming from their body. That's not the computer in our brain. That wasn't a mental Google search. That wasn't and none of these, where you go to your brain and gather information. Our wisdom, our answers, our decision-making comes from our body. If we go to our mind for it, if we make it mental, it's going to be confusing because there's a lot of extra information with the wisdom. That's where we get indecisive. That's where we're like, I don't know, because I could see it this way, I could see it that way, and what if this happens? What if I say yes to this and it doesn't work out, or it turns into this, or that? And what if I say no, because then you've got this, and then you've got that FOMO. And you know what I say? What if that no, N-O, can be dropped into the body? Get out of your mind, get out of the ping, 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 ping going on in your mind. Drop it into your body and turn that N-O, no, into a knowing. Your body's knowing, your body's wisdom, your lived experience knows its wisdom. Our body guides us. That book, The Body Keeps the Score. We hear things about stuck energy in our body that creates blockages in our life. The score in our body that adds up to illnesses, a diagnosis, toxicity even. Maybe that's part of why we need to have so much attention to how we feed this body and how we move this body regularly. Maybe. Think about your childlike self. Think about how we lived back then. Think about that natural playfulness. Think about we lived from our body. We weren't living from the mind. Our body wanted to move. It wanted to experience. It wanted to explore. We were movers. We couldn't sit in a chair too long. We wanted to be outside with creation. Even if we were watching TV, we were moving, rolling around, doing weird things with our legs or our arms, moving in different sitting positions. We were living in our body. We were outside. We were climbing a tree. We were rolling around in the grass. We were doing cartwheels, handstands. If there was music on, we were moving to it. From we were babies, moving to the music. We didn't think about it. We didn't rehearse how we were about to move. We just moved with the music. And we all say, oh, to be a kid again. Not a worry in the world. Why do you think we didn't have a worry in the world? We weren't living from our mind. We were living from our body. We came into this life to live in our body, or else we wouldn't have a body. So coming back to this question of when do we push, when do we pause, when do we leap, when do we pause? I do think it's natural to push, natural to leap. It's unnatural to sit. It's unnatural to stop. We did not receive mobile bodies to use in just a mental mode and abandon the bodies we were given, to abandon the tactile experience with earth, with creation, with the energies here on earth, to sit on our phones, to sit on our computers, to be in cubicles, in cars, in offices. I know that's necessary. And honestly, if it's a rainy day, being in a car gives me the movement I need to move the energy I am working through. Why do you think our greatest downloads happen while we are in movement? Like we're in a car, we're in motion, we're moving, okay? We are in the shower, we're moving our arms, legs, and take that even further. If you're on a walk, if you're cleaning your house, you're on the move. That's when those downloads come in. That's when those ideas come in. That's when the memory kicks in. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Oh yeah, I gotta call so-and-so. Oh yeah, I gotta fill out this form. I don't think it's a coincidence. They happen a hell of a lot more when we're in motion than when we're just sitting. So let's talk about that pause. I'm going to call it the pause when it's the healthy version. Otherwise, it's a stop. It's a procrastination. It's a self-sabotage. It's a paralyzation. Actually, let's just call it that. It's either a pause or a paralyze, okay? There is power in that pause. A couple episodes ago, we talked about that hustle culture. Go, go, go. All of our value sits in the productivity. Depends on how much you produce, depends on how much you can cross off that list. That's how productive you are. Therefore, that's how much value you have, which builds our identity. It builds our reputation. All the wrong ways to live, right? But it's all the ways that we were raised. Whether it was through the generations before us in our own family, or it was the generations that raised us in our career, our leaders, our management, our employers. We're finding out now it was all wrong to build our identity in that way, to value ourselves based on how much we can produce, based on how productive we are. But the pause can be the most powerful thing you do for your life, especially when we're creating something, especially when we are leading something. Hovering above the family, hovering above your business, your team, your vision, hovering above it isn't doing anything for the foundation of it. Pausing, getting your feet to touch the ground of it, rooting ourselves into it, connecting ourselves into it, that's where our real creation is. Hovering above it, that's just maintenance. If you just want to maintain where it already is, then go, 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 keep to the checklist, and just keep maintaining it. But if you're creating from this, if you're wanting to grow this, then every now and then we've got to pause to sink our teeth into this, to sink our roots into this, to get it back in the body. That pause lands you long enough to observe be the boots on the ground, observe what's doing great, what still needs help, what needs to grow, what's not growing. It helps you feel that gut instinct again, helps you know what to trust. It gets your 10 toes, like I say, when you want to stand 10 toes on something. It gets you back on that foundation of what you stand for. Your conversations become stronger, bigger. That whole thing with, you're going to say it with your whole chest. You ever get into an argument? Maybe I shouldn't say argument. You ever get into a conversation and you just pause? And if someone's BSing you, they don't like that pause, so they talk into that pause. And you stay in the pause, and they just keep running their mouth. And eventually they admit this, and that, because all you did was pause and stop, and they got uncomfortable, and they ended up saying too much. That's another power in the pause. But that pause brings you back to your foundation. It brings you back to you. It brings you back into your body, into your experience, into your wisdom, so that your decisions are solid because they come from solid ground. Your decisions and how you're going to handle this conversation comes from a solid place. Your decisions for what you're building, for what you're creating, comes from a solid ground, not from this place you're hovering above. That's just a maintenance place. But what we don't want to do is call it a pause when it's actually us paralyzing ourselves because we're procrastinating. All of that is still hovering above. You can sit in a chair, you can write notes, you can get on a computer, you can have another strategy meeting. You call it a pause, but you're really just procrastinating. We are really just procrastinating. We're really just overthinking, overplanning, overanalyzing, bringing in anxiety, going through a mental spiral. You're hovering above it. That's where our head is. That's where the mental game is. The mental game is hovering above the body. Coming back into the body, that's the real substance. If you want to make life decisions, have that from the body. This practice that I've been in has been life changing, even down to I've been experimenting. This has been like a year now. Last summer, I started doing this. I've even experimented with my eating. What am I hungry for? And I'll ask my body instead of asking my mind. And I actually have a real experience that happened. We were at an art fest, and I just kept asking my body, are you hungry? And it was like a no. Because I enjoy eating, and especially when you're at a festival, you got all these food trucks. I'm like, ooh, this, ooh, that. Those are ideas. Those are coming from the mind. Or you smell something, and you're like, oh, yeah. So that's all coming from the neck up, right? And so my body was just like, no, I'm not hungry. No, I'm not. And my husband, he got something to eat, and we're sitting over at the picnic tables, and all of a sudden I was like, I'm hungry. So I was like, oh, you're hungry now. Okay, what do you want? And my body, it was like, I want grilled chicken on a stick, like a kebab. I was like, oh, great. How am I going to find that? I'm at a fest, we're talking about like fried foods and snow cones. So I was like, all right, well, stay put, hubby. I'm going to go see if I can find some grilled chicken on a stick. And wouldn't you know it, or the food trucks, the backs of the food trucks were facing us. So I didn't, I couldn't see from where we were sitting. So I go over there, and the food truck that was closest to us had grilled chicken kebabs, plain. They didn't have anything on them. And I was like, no way. That is crazy that my body knew that that was nearby. The wisdom that sits there, my body walked by that. My body took notes. Again, back to that book, The Body Keeps Score. I never saw them from my eyes, from the neck up. I never saw that. And that's happened multiple times. I didn't even know that was there. Somehow my body knew it was there. I don't know how all that works. But when I'm sitting here experimenting with how to be better about living in my body, experiencing life instead of thinking about life, moving through life, moving my body through life instead of Again, just sitting and thinking about life. Like I'm looking out the window right now at this pond and it's got a big fountain in it that's moving the water so that it doesn't become murky. Right? That was me before. I feel like I was living in this from my mental space, from the neck up. I was living from the neck up and I wasn't moving the energy, wasn't moving. I wasn't putting it into my body. Therefore, my mind, it was just confused, indecisive, hovering above my lived experience. It was just a murky pond. Like there's movement in the pond that I'm looking at right now. The fountain's huge. It's moving the water. Movement is so important to us, but so is that pause. That person that's got to go out to this water, probably on a weekly basis, pause, take a sample of this water, take note of where the problems are and where the problems are not, adjust and pivot accordingly, and keep this healthy pond healthy. So what if, moving forward, what if, when to leap, when to pause, is really just the distinction between am I hovering above or am I grounded in what I'm creating? Am I paralyzing myself or am I in an actual pause? Am I pushing from the foundation? Am I leaping from the foundation? Or am I just in constant movement, hovering above, maintaining? Am I in my body or am I in my mind? Do I want to be moving from my body or do I want to just be moving the mind? Ideas come from the mind, but from our body, we create it. We bring an idea to life. We bring a vision to life. We bring a team to a goal. We bring a business to a success, to a momentum, to a growth. We bring our body, we bring our family's bodies into wellness, into health. We can't think our way to health. We have to move into health with what we do. I think actually it just crossed my mind. I was like hearing wealth. I'm like, wealth is the same way. We can't think ourselves into wealth. We have to make moves, do the action, be in the body that steps into that wealth, that builds that wealth, that grows that wealth. What if, let's start small. What if this week, you know what, I've been thinking about opening up a group page on Facebook. I'm going to do it. What if this week we challenge ourselves this week to make all the little micro decisions to live in the body this week, to make decisions from the body, to ground ourselves into what it is that we're creating, into the things that we're leading. From the body, ask your body for answers. Get the wisdom that lives there. Feel the answer. Don't think of the answer. Feel for the answer. Feel for the response. Don't think of a response. 1 week. I'm going to open up this Facebook page. I want us all to do this challenge this week. I'll put the link in the description of this podcast. And gosh, it would just be really cool, even if it's just for 1 week, that I get to do this practice with other people. Because I mean, for 46 years, well, maybe not that long, because as a kid, we were living from our body and not our mind. But for a lot of years, let's say for 40 years, I've not been living from my body. And even over the last year, I keep forgetting. In fact, even like lately, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Forgot about living from the body. Seeing this question, I was like, oh my gosh, I have not been in good practice of that. I would love to be in practice with this with my friends, with you for 1 week. Let's just see how it feels, okay? Let's not think about what it's going to be like. Let's feel it. Let's talk about it. And let's see what creates from this. We're going to do this together. We're going to walk this together because that's what we do, right? And in the body, we are all just walking each other home. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? All right. I will see you inside. Thanks again for another great Sunday.